Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and we have the brand new month for the story mode fragment farming. And of course, I wanted to discuss with you guys all the new characters and basically give you the general vibe on maybe characters you should be focusing on building up, tier 3ing, transcending, to make the most out of these fragments. But I actually want to start off today's video by doing a bit of a lesson here. This is going to look like a flex, but it's more like a lesson. If you take a look here at my fragments, specifically for the very first mission, the Dimensional Clash, which has the most missions, that has 20 out of the total, whatever, 31 missions in the entire story mode, you can see that my number 1 and my number 5 fragments represent a humongous deviation, right? All the rest are around 40, 20, 30, but these two are at 263 and 280 apiece. Why is that? Well, once you build up enough of the characters and with the bonuses, you end up getting a surplus of 1 and 5 because 1 has 3 missions and 5 also has 3 missions. So what you can do, a piece of information, a sort of a piece of logic that you can apply is, from now on, any month that you see characters that you don't like on 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, or on 4-1, 4-2, and 5-1, consider, take a second, have a second opinion, and maybe don't upgrade those characters, because eventually you will gain, like me, a massive surplus for these characters, for these fragments. And so building up the character for the fragment, like let's say Angela, for example, right? Angela is here on 1-1, and Amadeus Cho on 1-2, and I believe also on 1-3, right? So maybe you build up Amadeus Cho, or maybe you don't, and you get fewer of the first fragment this month. But over time, that's obviously going to balance itself out, and you will still end up with a massive surplus of one of the one fragment. Here on 4-1, 4-2, and 5-1. Whoa, what was that? It just got away from me. On 4-1, 4-2, and 5-1, maybe Caecilius or maybe Apocalypse is a character that you skip, even though you're missing them because the rest of the fragment days can carry you or what have you. So that was the first thing that I wanted to talk about briefly. Now let's get into the actual characters. I've already updated the spreadsheet. By the way, guys, the spreadsheet is always updated within 20 minutes of the brand new month coming out. And this is the same spreadsheet that has the tier list, that has the champion building guide, the mega tier 2 guide. There's so much stuff here, and it also includes the story mode fragment farming. I don't know why it's cutting off now, but basically what we're seeing this month, just to give you a general overview before we get into the nitty gritty, is there are a lot more characters featured this month than previously. Last month, you can see there's a lot of NA, which means that the character was not featured at all. There's tons of NAs last month, which was really good for accounts that were still catching up. This month is literally the opposite. This is a month where whales and veteran accounts that have most tier 3s and most transcendences are going to feel really good. But if you've been picky, if you've been choosy about who to tier 3 and who to transcend, this month you're not really going to have a place to hide, because Angela makes her unfortunate debut with 2 appearances, but Adam appears once, Chavez appears once, you have Apocalypse appearing, you have a Bullseye coming out of nowhere to appear, right? You have so many of these characters just appearing once. Destroyer appearing for the very first time, Emma appearing, you have, Null appearing twice, Jean Grey makes her first appearance, you have all these characters: Magneto, Moonstone, Mephisto, Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Sinister, Molecule Man, Morbius, right? So that's really the issue for this month. You also have Nova, Sam Alexander, and Nadia both appearing, as well as Odin, who was absent for the past 3 months. So we are seeing a lot of that this month. So yeah, Scourge also appearing. If you're missing more characters than usual this month, you're not alone. Probably the majority of players are. On the flip side, there are fewer characters that you sort of need to chase this month. Generally speaking, you can see here by the number of blues, like a few months ago back in May, Doctor Strange and Ebony Maw would be really good ideas to tier 3 and maybe even transcend Ares, because they're featured so many times. Hulkbuster featured, Iron Man featured, right? Loki featured. The advantage to what we have now is, with very few characters featured multiple times, you're not getting as much value out of any one character. So I believe there are only 2 characters this month that are going to give you that bang for your buck, and it's going to be White Fox, featured 3 times, and they're all in the Dimensional Clash, by the way, which is an important distinction. And then Ghost Rider. So those two characters are the only ones featured 3 or more times besides Amadeus Cho. And what I pointed out for Amadeus Cho, unlike White Fox and Ghost Rider, is that he's featured in 1-2 and 1-3. And chances are, if you have more of those first fragments, you could ignore Amadeus Cho entirely this month. So I'm really happy that I can give you this sort of strategy, this sort of advanced logic, because I'm potentially saving people resources, right? People who were considering, after seeing the requirements this month, they're like, man, maybe I should transcend Amadeus. Hang on, maybe don't transcend Amadeus. Go back, look at your fragment disparity. Chances are you have the fewest fragments in 6, 7, and 8. That's where the majority of people have their lowest fragments. For me, it's 6, and then it's 8. Chances are you have the most fragments in 1 and 5, which means you can safely skip some of those characters. So really nice skip month here for Amadeus Cho. Sorry to all the Amadeus Cho fans out there. I don't mean to slander your boy. But yeah, it sort of lines up with the value proposition. Ghost Rider, on the other hand, very valuable, continues to be very valuable. Seen now 35 times since we started doing story mode fragment farming last year. So he has been everywhere. He's been all over this. Look, he hasn't gone a month. He's the Iron Man. He's gone 6 months without missing a feature. He'll probably stop being featured in the future. So this may be the peak of his value, but it really doesn't get much better than this. And he is spread out over all 4 story modes. He's featured in Dimensional Clash, All War, the Future Ends Here, and the ISO one that I can't remember because no one plays it. So yeah, Ghost Rider, humongous pickup. The last thing I want to talk about here about specific team-ups, because I know that's an important one for you. Before we talk about the team-up, I do want to highlight just how garbage the 3 characters are for 13-3. We have Angela, Destroyer, and Ghost Rider. This is going to be bad. You basically are not allowed to autoplay this stage because there's no way Angela survives. There's no way Destroyer survives. And there's probably no way that Ghost Rider survives either. Thanos just does too much damage, and Ghost Rider's too fragile without a heal. So almost every player is going to be forced to manual play 13-3, which kind of sucks. Your only other option, of course, would be to set up a different team where you bring in 2 of the characters, you sacrifice a 25% chance to get a fragment, but your main DPS has a revive or is just super tanky, like, you know, Corvus, Adam Warlock type of character. Okay, maybe not so expensive, but you kind of get what I'm saying. A character that can tank enough damage, like Moon Knight or something, so that they can get the kill, and you can continue to enjoy your autoplay with still a 75% chance of getting the fragment. As far as the best autoplay team for this month to ensure that you don't have weak characters in the leadership position playing through on auto and dying and then losing you a percent chance to getting the fragment, I think this is the most reliable team, and this is probably the team that I'm going to be using here, with Ghost Rider lead and then Caecilius and Angela off center. They're off center so that they are not chosen as leadership characters, which specifically affects Caecilius on 5-1 here, and then can affect Angela on 1-1. Again, you may not need to consider Angela very much if you don't, or if you're not going to run 1-1, for example, since she's only featured on 1-1 and 13-3. So if you want to sub out Angela, another good option would be to put Storm in there, because Storm notoriously has difficulty surviving even with the new uniform. But especially if you don't have the new uniform, then you definitely want to put Storm in a non-leadership position, because otherwise she's going to be the lead here on 4-1 and she can absolutely die, whereas Shang-Chi and Black Panther, actually Black Panther doesn't have that much more survivability, but Shang-Chi can definitely take care of it. But yeah, besides those 2, I don't really see a lot of, or those 3, I guess, Storm, Caecilius, Angela, and then Storm, I don't really see a big issue. Ghost Rider does appear as the lead sometimes, so you might think it's redundant to put him as the lead, but he's also off lead at times, so that really helps. And it also reminds you for 13-3 to then play manually, and you have him there so that Destroyer and Angela don't goof things up. This run, this team is also pretty weak, but I don't really see a standout of this team that you would want to put in the lead anyways, and each of them only appear once anyways, so I think it's suboptimal to put Thing lead or Nadia or Swordmaster. I think you just sort of beef one of them up. It'd probably be Thing, and then hopefully he can tank through. This is the only other mission that I see as a kind of a problem depending on your build on Red Guardian, but again, you don't have a lot of space. You could put Medusa lead here or America Chavez for tankiness, but then you would lose the Ghost Rider. So you may have to build two different teams. Some people have done that. But the problem is that Caecilius appears here, and then you do have other characters appearing later on, which can sort of, sort of cross paths and mix up both teams. But yeah, I do think that this is the best team available for you to minimize the number of L's that you take. And then, yeah, the good thing here with Gwenpool being featured twice, if you don't have her premium uniform, which is a pretty big shaft that they included her, is that she will not be leader for either one. It's either going to be Rogue or it's going to be Spider-Woman. So you should be absolutely fine there. And then, like you see, Ghost Rider appears there. And then Ghost Rider, Apocalypse appears there. So yeah, hopefully this has helped you out to prepare for this month's and sort of plan ahead for this month's story mode fragment farming. I really love this game mode because of the rewards and because of the loop, the gameplay loop that it builds, right? You farm this game mode to get tier 3 materials, which allows you to tier 3 and transcend more characters, which then allows you to get even more resources. So it's this really nice, satisfying loop where those items stockpile, and then it allows you to build out your roster even bigger and fatter than before. And the other items that you get besides tier 3 materials are all very valuable. The least valuable of which is ISO, but honestly, ISO is still pretty decent, right? You still need ISO for builds, and the more ISO that you can awaken, the higher you get the buffs, right? You go from a 20% buff to a 40% buff, you get more HP, you get more stats. It still does matter in the long run for your builds. And then also equipping these items, right? These Oda's Blessings or these ISOs, and increasing your character's growth score then has the added benefit of increasing your dispatch, right? The dispatch sectors and how much of a growth grade you have, right? On some of these, I can stack all the way up to 25 because I have these characters built to the 9s, completely stacked out with max builds. So yeah, hopefully that helps you out. Looking forward to people's thoughts on story mode fragment farming for September. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.